Hello, this is Fear Dragon, and welcome to Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players. Here on this show, we take a look at an up-and-coming North American talent. Each week, we check out a new player to get a feel for their personality and their playstyle. On Thursday, we interview the player to find out more about who they are and why you should care about them. On Friday, we watch 3 of their games as we cover their playstyle in each of the 3 matchups. Saturday, we take a look at an awesome game they played and relax with a little bit of fun as we recap the week and get an analysis of the games. Breaking Out will cover 8 players before it culminates into the Breakout Invitational. With a minimum prize pool of $1,000, we find out who is the most likely player to break out of the North American scene. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Hello, this is Fear Dragon, and welcome to Breaking Out, the show about North American StarCraft 2 players that you need to know about. Today on the show, we're going to be covering our PvP of the week with Prometheus Gaming's NaYa as we go ahead and jump into the game. But first, let me introduce my co-commentator, Boisterous SC2. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing quite good, although you kind of surprised me with the start of the game because you were like, all right, let's go. And then you just hit the start button, like right away. I was like, oh my god, I need to stop clicking.
Dude, I'm eager to jump into PvP.
I know,
it's one of my favorite matchups, all right?
You are weird.
I will accept that as we jump in and introduce the first player spawning down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map as the red Protoss player. Representing Prometheus Gaming, it is the highlight player of the week, NaYa!
And up here in the top right-hand corner, we have from Clarity Gaming, the arch enemy of my bowels. It is our blue Protoss player, Pooh. Dude, I'm gonna be making those jokes all cast long, by the way.
I love Pooh. One of my favorite matches ever to have casted was, well, currently, I think at the time it was Seed, but IVD Intense versus Clarity Gaming's Pooh. It was an intense Pooh matchup.
God damn it, we're gonna be like 5-year-olds for the rest of this cast, right?
No, we can focus. Alright, I believe in us, right?
I don't know if I can focus. I mean, you can focus, but I'm gonna be making Pooh jokes all cast long. Alright, I'll try to keep them subtle.
Let's bring it in a little bit, alright, and talk a little bit about PvP. So first of all, we have the map Frost. They spawned cross-spawn positions, which means that it is going to be a bit of a further distance away. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, with the proxy pylon, Protoss bullshit, like, warp-ins mean that you don't have to worry about the map distance. Well, you actually do, because it's not all just purely gateway units. You also have to think about the robotic facility units, like the Immortals. There's all kinds of other push-outs take much longer to actually go out to the other side of the map, set up proxy pylons, etc. So it does delay pushes a little bit, and I feel like we could very well see a little bit of a early Nexus or something come out from either of these players.
Yeah, and I think more importantly is that since it's cross-spawn, you can actually take 4 bases. In horizontal positioning on Frost, you can't take that bottom base. It's like, it's not gonna happen. It's just way too close to your opponent, where the push-out path is like right there. In lateral spawns, you really, I mean, you can, it's a little bit easier to take the bottom base here, or the top base, depending on what part of the map you are, the base in the middle. But it's not that much easier. Like, the angling makes it a little bit better because, like, there is not literally an entrance to it that has high ground right next to it.
Yeah.
But it's not that much better. But on cross spawn, you can actually kind of have legitimate full macro games, because when you are either lateral or horizontal on Frost, it lends itself to a lot of 2-base pressure builds that might extend into 3 bases, but usually won't because it's PvP.
Yeah, definitely. Now, hold that thought. We actually do have a 3-stalker rush coming out from NaYa, chrono boosting out both of those extra stalkers. NaYa wants to get a little bit aggressive, and you might actually be able to catch Pooh a little bit off guard over here, as Pooh does actually engage with this first stalker, but Mushakor is coming out to help.
And we have Pooh actually getting ready to put on some pressure here. And it looks like that proxy pylon will be able to finish. So NaYa's 3-stalker rush is suddenly, it's going to be covered in Pooh.
It could very well be, but I don't know. 3 stalker is definitely a bit more favorable against a single stalker and a single zealot. This pylon is definitely going to be under fire as soon as the zealot and the stalker actually manage to get picked up. But oh, Pooh going after the mothership core and does not manage to actually get it, and actually ends up losing one of those stalkers.
Yeah, but now we have the 3-stalker warp-ins happening, and this Pooh is just, it's gonna get hard for NaYa. He's gonna lose a stalker here. And it's just gonna get unstoppable here. The waves of poo, they're just coming in so hard, Pure Dragon.
Photon Overcharge is gonna put an end to some of that. As NaYa gonna buy himself a little bit extra time. Now you do have to remember though that there's actually Warp Gate already finished up for Poo. He has also 3 gateways in comparison to the NaYa, who only has 2 Warp Gates, is just now getting up that 3rd Warp Gate, and is finally going to be able to reinforce and maybe actually catch up a little bit. The Photon Overcharge is going to be wearing out soon, though.
Yeah, and as soon as that Photon Overcharge wears out, Poo will have nothing to fear. He'll be able to bring in some stinky goodness. And it looks like NaYa is going to continue to be pinned back into his base with only 5 Stalkers, and those Stalkers, I think they might have a small aversion to Poo. I don't think Stalkers Poo.
You know, I don't think they want to either. Oh, but probes actually have to be pulled over here for NaYa. He's not feeling too comfortable about this, especially with the Zealot adding in a lot of extra DPS and tankiness to Poo's army. Now NaYa, he's managing to clean up a lot of these Stalkers. So many of those Stalkers from Poo are so low on health, and NaYa does manage to push his opponent back, but he has actually lost, he lost a couple of workers over there. He lost 4 workers, and oh my god, boysters, there's a proxy pawn inside of Poo's base.
Oh man, Poo's face is gonna get a little bit red here.
Oh god, and NaYa just gonna move in over here, smearing the Poo all over those probes' faces with these 2 Zealots. And Poo does warp in 2 Zealots to try and deal with his, these Zealots harassing. But NaYa, yeah, he's gonna try and focus fire down some of those probes. Did he actually manage to get any? He got 1. So not exactly the best trade, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it was a ballsy play from NaYa in Poo. I mean, he's just too fluid. Like, he's able to be in so many different positions at once. And that Zealot warp in was really well executed.
Yeah, very much so. But, you know, we do have a follow-up over here from NaYa already. It's going to be a Stargate. In the meanwhile, if you take a look at Poo's base, his Stargate is way further behind. I mean, his is only halfway done, and the Oracle is already out on the map right now. So, for NaYa. So, I feel like NaYa's been able to transition out a hell of a lot faster, and that could be his big advantage that he needs to get ahead in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, these Oracles, I'm not sure if this is well known by most people, but they actually just shoot giant beams of, like, disinfecting spray. And that doesn't bode well for Poo here.
No, it does not. And Revive Silly also going up for Poo. Ooh! This could actually be a lot of trouble over here. Poo also going for his own Oracle instead of a Phoenix. If he was going for a Phoenix, that is actually, in some ways, a safer play.
Yeah.
It's obviously harder to do a whole lot of damage with the Phoenix, but it means that if your opponent goes to the Stargate, you can instantly just get a kill immediately on that Oracle. The Oracle just moves slower. It cannot run away from the Phoenix.
I mean, let's be real here, Fear Dragon. After like 10 minutes, Poo just goes hard. It's all day long. He's going to come in here with these Oracles right now. He's going to be going right for it.
Definitely. I mean, I'm pretty amazed by how difficult Poo is making this. All right, but let's actually talk about the game again. The Oracle for Poo is coming to the natural expansion. Do you think that NaYa should be able to defend this? Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, he has a Phoenix now, so it shouldn't really be an issue. And actually, the Oracle from Poo is most likely going to die here. It does manage to kill off 1 probe, so it wasn't you know, for nothing. It was kind of for nothing, but
yeah,
wasn't literally.
Definitely not the trade that you want to be making. Now NaYa comes in over here. He's actually been doing a good job controlling that Oracle of his own, keeping it alive, continuing to just pick off whatever probes he can. He also has his expansion up a little bit ahead of his opponent. So I feel like NaYa is actually sitting in a pretty comfortable position at this point. He has a slight probe lead, which means a lot in a mirror matchup, but he also has his Stargate up. He still has his Oracle up. He has his Robotics Facility up. Poo's sitting in a similar situation, but he doesn't have an Oracle out on the map. He's still down a couple of workers. And what he does not have in terms of his tech, he has a handful more gateway units, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, he's gonna live a little bit longer here, but I feel like NaYa should be a little bit safer in the late game because that tech is really gonna come out hard in this game just because of the cross spawn position. Like Poo can't really push out super well, especially with the Oracle behind him. Like if he pushes out, it's gonna be all in, and by the time he hits his opponent's base, his opponent's gonna have a reasonable army set up. And I mean, I guess you could maybe proxy pylon across the map, but I doubt it would really get any closer than the one that's currently at the fourth base in the bottom left, in the bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think that NaYa would be able to hold it off pretty well, especially with Immortals on the way.
Exactly. The Immortals are going to really make it difficult to make a whole lot of pressure happen for a while, and NaYa's also transitioning out and getting a couple of the Phoenix up. Phoenixes are going to be an interesting choice, because he already has 4 out on the map, and he hasn't really revealed them. I mean, he killed off an Oracle, but it's hard to say, because NaYa clearly showed that he had scouted out his opponent's Oracle with his own. So that could have just been one reactionary Phoenix to pick off his opponent's Oracle. I don't think that Pooh has a really good indication that there's a large number of Phoenix coming across the map.
Yeah, and we actually have NaYa losing his Oracle there to 3 Stalkers. That was really well controlled by Pooh. And it looks like we are going to have a small pylon going down right outside of the natural of Pooh. Going to be building up a little bit of a defense out there, getting ready for warp-ins if the need happens. We have 5 Phoenixes actually coming in. For NaYa, though, they're going to be lifting up Pooh's workers here and just going right to town on them. We have quite a few probes going down here. I think that was somewhere around 8.
Yeah, a pretty substantial number. And finally, the Stalkers have managed to make their way over the main base, but the Phoenixes are actually already gone in a safe little location now. So, honestly, Pooh could be in a lot of trouble, because if he keeps just trying to play this macro game at home and not really pushing out for a while, those Phoenixes are going to come back into the main base. They're going to pick off another 5 or 6, maybe even 7 probes.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he's going to be behind a solid, like, almost 10 or so probes in a mirror matchup, where his opponent's also getting up 3rd expansion behind this faster. His opponent got up his tech a little bit faster, or at least some of his tech. He just doesn't have the robotics bay quite as fast. This could be a lot of
and he's actually going to lose his Mothership Core here, and that is huge. That denies any amount of pressure that Pooh would be able to do right now, because like literally the only hope for Pooh is that he would be able to move out across the map and deal some damage to his opponent with like the ability to not lose anything because of the Mothership Core.
Yeah, and I mean, a nice defense at the end over there finally as the Photon Overcharge and those Stalkers managed to pick off a couple of those Phoenix. 2 of them do end up falling. One of them so low on health, only has 9 hit points left. I mean, one single shot from the Stalker or the Mothership Core's Photon Overcharge would have been able to pick it off. And I would say that the difference between 2 Phoenix and 3 Phoenix is actually decent enough. 3 Phoenix means that you can go in and kill off like 4 or 5 probes sometimes. 2 Phoenix is like, well, I'm going to sit over here, but my opponent is going to be able to probably react before I even kill off more than 1.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a huge difference between 2, 3, and 5 Phoenixes, because 2 Phoenixes means that it takes 4 shots or 4 volleys to kill off a probe. 3 Phoenixes means it takes 2 volleys, and 5 Phoenixes mean you can one-shot probes as you lift them.
Yeah, kind of interesting right now, actually. Look at NaYa's army, and look at his anti-air capabilities to deal with this hallucinated Oracle.
Absolutely
literally, it's literally sentries. And then he has those 2 Phoenix, he just lost one of the 3rd Phoenix. And they're kind of trapped on the other side of the map now.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think NaYa really cares. It's kind of sacrificial at this point, because it's like, Pooh could theoretically go for air units, but he's probably not going to, and if he does, NaYa can warp in Stalkers. Like, he's not in that much of a dangerous position, especially considering the fact that we have the Templar Archives on the way. We have Colossi on the way. I mean, Pooh's coming up with double Colossi production, but the 5 Immortals and the Charge Lots should be able to shut that down pretty easily.
Oh, Warp Prism from NaYa getting a little bit out of position over here. Stalker's going after it. Oh my god, it gets so low on health, but it does manage to escape with 8 health points. And it's going to have 100 shields to back it up, so just keeping it alive is actually going to mean a lot for NaYa. You can put on a lot more aggression and really try and pick Pooh apart a little bit more easily.
Alright, and it looks like we are going to have Pooh posturing a little bit here. Just moving across the map. He does have a 3rd base currently. So both players are kind of tied on the 3rd base, like at least having it up. NaYa, of course, has an insane probe lead of almost 20 currently, 19 probes, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's that constant Phoenix harassment of picking off probes, as well as the Oracle earlier on in the game, and also just, you know, when this kind of stuff is constantly going on, and you're moving your Stalkers back and forth between your main base, your natural expansion, etc., trying to deal with these units, like poking and prodding in your base, you end up losing track of things, and sometimes you miss your probe from being made like by 5 seconds or something, and those 5 seconds add up, those 3 to 5 seconds keep building up, and suddenly you're down an extra 5 or 6 probes.
Yeah, and it looks like we are going to have NaYa continuing to build up here, building up to 9 gateways, I believe. Actually, no, more than that, building up to 12 currently, which is going to be a strong number.
Yeah, NaYa really likes this massive number of gateways in the late game. I mean, we saw this also in his PvT. He really likes being able to reinforce with an absurd number of gateway units.
I mean, it's really important. Like, I mean, if you manage to clear out your opponent in the late game and you have a warp prism like NaYa likes to have, it's very nice to be able to position that and literally just start warping in units. Because if you just warp in units, you're eventually going to kill your opponent. Especially if you have the economic lead, especially if you have the lead in bank, your opponent's not going to be able to produce units as fast as you are.
Now, what's something kind of interesting to note is that NaYa, he's taking his 4th expansion, but he's actually cut probe production for the most part. In fact, both of these players really have, sitting around 65 and 60 probes respectively. But NaYa just has a somewhat scarier composition. I mean, you look at that immortal count, and that's actually going to be the scariest thing. Pooh is keeping up relatively even with the Colossus count. Actually, dead even right now with the Colossus count, as both of them are sort of producing 2 at a time. But the Immortals just wreck in the late game PvP. They just do, they tank so much damage, and they dish out so much damage to those Colossus.
Yeah, and it looks like we do have NaYa going for a Dark Shrine at this point, and I'm a little bit curious about what he actually plans to do with that.
You know, I think it's, I honestly am an earnest believer that Dark Shrine, always, like, you should always have one. If you are ever on 3 bases as a Protoss player, or even got like 4 bases as we end up seeing right now, oh my god, NaYa really just doesn't like his low health zealots. But yeah, if you're ever in that sort of situation, there's absolutely no reason not to get a Dark Shrine, because if you're mining healthily, and a Dark Templar or 2 warped in can help deal with Warp Prism drops. They can help also put on a little bit of pressure on the other side of the map with like very minimal supply. I mean, NaYa's maxed out, but if he kills off 1 or 2 zealots, he can warp into Dark Templar and actually kill off completely another expansion in a different location.
Yeah, and it looks like we are going to have an engagement happening right now. Battle of the Lasers 2014 Fear Dragon, as we have a lot of Colossi. The angle from NaYa is a little bit better. He does have that Warp Prism support, and it is going to be helpful in an insane amount here as we see the army of Pooh just melting. It's going everywhere. It's smearing all over the walls of that 4th base. It is not a good position for Pooh right now, and he's going to call the GG.
And that was really well done by NaYa. Honestly, those Immortals just, they tank so much damage from those Colossus shots. And as soon as the rest of the ground army for Pooh evaporated, the Immortals were just hitting those Colossus like absolute trucks with +3 weapons. I mean, well, actually +2 weapons. It looks like Pooh was the one with the +3 weapons. But still, like, those Immortals made a huge difference, as well as you were saying, like, that engagement angle, pretty nice for NaYa. And, yeah, I think that was actually just a really straightforward, for the most part, solid macro game, where NaYa also just did some nice harassment to get leads as he went to the late game.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty textbook PvP from NaYa. I mean, just a very textbook macro PvP where you go Colossi and you have more Colossi and you get a better engagement angle and you win.
Indeed, but with that being said, guys, that is actually going to put an end for the games today. If you're watching this on YouTube and you have not seen the PvZ or PvT, which I highly recommend, go ahead and check those out on the YouTube channel. But otherwise, that is going to be it for game day. We're not going to be uploading any more videos for today. If you're watching this on Twitch, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Boisters, where can people actually catch you at?
If people want to catch me, they can catch me over at Twitter at BoisterousSC2, and I figured that I'm just gonna sponsor that now because I post about everything I do over there. So if you want to find me, just follow me on Twitter and I'll post it. If you want to follow me on Twitch too, it's twitch.tv/BoisterousSC2. I'm pretty easy to find if you just search BoisterousSC2.
Definitely go do that, guys. And of course, if you want to check out Prometheus Gaming's NaYa, please go ahead and check in the Twitch chat for the links over to his Twitter, Twitch, whatever, as well as over just down below the video on YouTube. You're watching it over there. You'll find all those links there. And guys, if you enjoy the show, please consider following the channel either on Twitch or over on youtube.com/FearDragon64. And that is going to be it. We're going to be doing the fun day. Or sorry, I renamed it. It's not fun day anymore, guys. It's the awesome day. The final awesome day of the week with Prometheus Gaming's NaYa. So be sure to tune in for that at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. That's going to be on Saturday. And you definitely want to tune in for that because there's going to be some nice announcements about the Breakout Invitational going on over there. I'll be kind of giving a couple more details about it. So look forward to it, and I hope to see you guys there. Take care, everyone.